Welcome, everybody, to the District House at District216. My name is Hannah Jo, and tonight I will be interviewing Paul Karasik. Welcome from LA. He made the journey to join us.
Good to be here.
I feel personally excited about the topics we're going to be exploring tonight. This man right here is a very insightful person, and he is a writer who infuses his writing with, I want to call it wit. And it's highly intelligent, but also really concise, at least what I have read of yours. And so I'm really interested to hear you speak more to leadership and specifically how that applies in the psychedelic renaissance. So tonight we're going to be delving into the details of that through Paul's perspective, through our collaborative perspective. And is there anything else that you would like to share about yourself or what you'll be offering here tonight?
No. Let's
Sweet.
get it on.
Yeah, let's get it on. And I just heard you say that you like to be provocative.
That's true.
Yeah. Me too. So
okay.
I look forward to leaning into some edges tonight. And with that being said, if you notice anything that is shared that you don't fully agree with, or you notice there's a tightness that comes up for you somewhere in your body, I really encourage you to track that so we can bring that into our community question and answers at the end.
Thank you.
Yeah, totally. Thank you.
What a pleasure. I'm excited to give this book its due. I've written 8 other books, and there's some content in it that's my life's work. It's my recollections, it's my realizations in the realm of leadership. And I don't know if they're right or wrong, but they seem to resonate with all the groups I've worked with in terms of what higher consciousness means when we bring it into leadership. And what that actually means is what does it bring into our relationships with each other? That's really what it's saying. That's the real question. How does higher consciousness manifest? So this is the Psychedelic Club, so you got to get the psychedelic story, right? You can't. No, speakers got it. You can't, right? Right. So it's 1967, Summer of Love. Wow. Yeah. And me and my girlfriend, somehow, Diane Keenan, beautiful Irish girl, somehow we get our hands on these little vials of LSD. And I have this little cabin. I was working as a waiter in a country resort. And we scampered away to the little cabin, and we drank that jug. And nothing's ever been the same. And what was different? What happened? Because this informs everything we're going to talk about tonight. What happened was realizations happened. Not the kind of knowing, figuring out realizations, but the realizations that pop up like bubbles in champagne and pop, right? Where the learning is not a thoughtful thing, but a presence with truth. So what did I see? What did I learn that informed me was number one, God is love. Because I was always searching, I was always seeking, I was always looking. I was reading Tibetan Book of the Dead and the Tao and Christian and all this stuff. What is God? Where is God? Who is God? And that answer wasn't a mental thing. See, now I'm putting it into words, so it's worthless in that sense, right? It was the knowing, right? Right? The knowing. That pure love. Not the romantic kind, but the pure love, the unconditional, the agape. I felt like my back was up against it all those years. I was only about 19. I felt like my back was rubbing up against it all the time, and then I turned around and went, that's it. Oh, man. And second, I'm it. Oh, my God. I'm it. That was the second one. It's not something in the sky or an old man or something weird. Yeah. Or you got to be Chinese, or you got to do a Hindu chant or some BS. No, it's right there. Accessible. Whew. And the third thing was, I'm you. And you're me. Again, not a thought, not an intellectual thing. It makes sense. We all share the flow of humanity. No, it wasn't that at all. It was to look into my girlfriend's eyes that day and see me reflected back in her eyes. Great start. Where do we go from here? San Francisco. Got to go to San Francisco. Right? Haight-Ashbury. Page Street, 1 block off of Haight. The epicenter of the psychedelic revolution. That was our hippie pad. And we had a world. We created a world, and it was a wonderful world. It was a dream world in some ways, but we all had the same dream for a moment in time, and it was spectacular. The dream we had was spectacular, that we wouldn't kill people of a different color skin in Southeast Asia. We just wouldn't do it. We wouldn't be a part of it. We wouldn't play that game. And that we would make love, not war. We had a dream. We were dreamers. We got some things right. We got some things right. But we got a lot of things wrong. One thing we got wrong was we didn't know certain words that we know today that we take for granted. For example, back in '67, we didn't know the word integration. No, I'm telling you the truth. Nobody in those times ever said the word integration. We just didn't know. We didn't know the word safety. We didn't know the word safety. Take acid. More people should take acid. That was a simple credo. You know, like, if more people take acid, there'll be less war, more love, less war, more harmony, more music, more good stuff. So it was simple. It was simple. And we didn't know the word healing. We didn't know the word healing. I'm telling you the truth. So we were stupid in certain ways, right? We were ignorant. Stupid's kind of a negative thing. But we were ignorant. But what we knew was translating into reality, and we changed the world. We stopped the war. We changed the culture. We changed the arts, the music, the theater. New theater forms arose. Crazy new concepts came to light in every single art form. Music changed dramatically. Pink Floyd and all the things that we accept in our culture today, they all happened then. So we didn't get certain things. What we didn't get was leadership. That's what we didn't get. That's what we didn't get back then. And so now we have to be smarter. Now we have to be smarter. We have to do it with those words that I just addressed. Healing, integration, safety. And my idea of safety will be different from your idea of safety, but safety is still safety. Right? And so, if you're in this room tonight, there's a chance you're here for one of two reasons. And I don't know which one it is. One, you're here because you're involved with psychedelics in a way, maybe as a business, which is no problem. And that's your focus. And then there's some people here tonight that are here because they've had a calling of some kind. Right, Fernando? Yes? Yeah. That have no free will. This is it. To be here tonight. Here, now, present. Right? We don't have a choice. When you have a calling, there's no choice. And what that calling is determined by one thing, and that's your relationship, primarily with the medicine. This is a very different type of thing we're dealing with. This is something that's alive, that has intelligence, that knows us, that can guide us to higher consciousness, and can inform how we're leading. What a tool. To examine a behavior, whether it's in business, and you're running a business, or any other situation, from the point of what level of consciousness are you coming from? Wow. We can transform. You know, I was on the beach this morning, having a cup of coffee, and they brought some kids out. They looked like 8 or 9 years old, and I watched the whole movie. It was like watching a movie. And they'd strolled all the kids out onto this beautiful beach by the Manhattan Beach Pier, right to the north side of it. These are beautiful kids, smart, intelligent kids. And they put cones up around them where they could sit. Now, Manhattan Beach is considered one of the greatest beaches in the world. It's listed in the top 20, the most expansive, pure, unpolluted beach, one of them in the world. And they put cones, is everybody following me? Around the kids. And then they sat them down, and the sun is sunning, and the sky is skying, and the ocean's singing songs to me. And they start talking through this little speaker. So today we're going to talk about this, and we're going to learn about all the different species of the dead solar water. Wouldn't it have been cool if they just took the kids out there and said, let's lay in the sand for a couple minutes and feel what that sand has to say, right? Let's dip our feet into this ocean and feel how cold or warm it, right? What they would have learned from nature, right? And I'm not talking about I'm just talking about higher consciousness now, right? To lead them with that. Then they would have left the beach with a new connection to the sky and to the ocean, to the sand. And then it was to clean up the beach. So they cleaned up the little area. No. And here's all these little spirits just so bursting with life and connection to everything. Consciousness, yeah? In everything we do, to say that. To start a meeting not with here's what we got to get done, but hey, how's everybody feeling? Because if you're feeling like crap, we ain't getting anything done anyway. So how you feeling? That makes sense. From a business sense, having been in consultant in business, makes it certainly we get more done that way. But from an experiential sense, that's even greater. Now you're working in an organization. You know, the people we spend our time with determine the quality of our life. And if we spend time, whether it's in work or at home or whoever, in conflict and separation, then that's the quality of your life. So it needs focus. Productivity comes later. By the way, you can have the calling and make a ton of money. It's a Venn diagram. One doesn't exclude the other. It's just a primary motive or a secondary motive, that's all. Right, Dawson? You follow? So what are the elements? What do you bring as a leader? We're going to talk about who is a leader, but I'll preface to say that. If anybody is around you, and you have contact with any human being, you are affecting them. Yes? Yeah. Positively or negatively? Yes? Yeah. And they're affecting you. And they're determining the quality of your life. And now you say, I have to own that. I have to say, yes, I'm a leader. I have to own that. I've seen people do ceremonies. They're not owning that space of leadership. And we talked about that before the talk tonight. And so the integrity is degraded. Everybody's a leader. You're a big sister, you're a leader. You're a slave leader with your baby sister. Do that. I was that way with my brother. He was pretty cool. He always shared his pot. So let's go. So what are the elements that we need to, what are the most important things that we have to instill as leaders to bring to this, to own that leadership? What does a great leader have that other leaders don't have? That's the question. And so I would propose a couple things to you here tonight. Number one, the sense of mission, the sense of purpose. I refer to it as calling, but this is a little secondary level to that. The sense of this is serving at a very high level. That's what a mission is. It's a purpose. It goes beyond everything. You would die for it. It's what you live for. There's no other reason. Let me share with you what I got on the spirit molecule. What I got was this. We're here to express love. Mic drop. And when I'm doing that, I'm living my purpose. And when I'm not doing that, no. That's my mission. It's that bigger issue. Taking it up one level. Seeing what you're doing. It's not a matter whether you're doing a psychedelic event in Santa Barbara or you're cleaning floors or whatever. It's not that. It's what you're instilling in it. It's your sense of purpose that you know you're connected, and we have such tools to connect us. God, isn't that beautiful? That keep us on track. That remind us who we are. So, there may be a mission statement for somebody at the park in Manhattan Beach where I lived for many years. And the guy goes, his job, his mission, he thinks this. He goes and he picks garbage cans up and he throws them into the truck and stuff flies. Piece of paper here, piece of paper there. And he takes the other can. I watch him because I walk. It's a park I walk in every morning. So I see the guy. I've seen him many, many times. He takes the cans and he throws me. Some stuff flies and a pizza box gets dropped and moves on. Next one because he's on the clock, you know. Next one. And then there's Peter and Ruby. You know, I was talking about Peter and Ruby. Peter goes there every morning when I go out and do a walk at 6:30 in the morning, and he has a bag. And he usually has a piece of paper, rubber gloves, and he goes all over the park and all by the garbage cans where the pizza thing is with Ruby. She's a little French bulldog. Those little... And Ruby's looking around. And see, you see the difference between the two? One has a job and one has a mission. Peter doesn't get paid. That park is spotless. Spotless. He comes there and does... You getting this? Yeah. So your question is, do I understand my mission? And we touch on that in the book. Do I understand it? Can I recite it? Can I explain it? Can I deliver it? Can I share it? It's clear, right? And it's not what you're doing. It's what you imbue in what you're doing, not what you're doing. 3 bricklayers out. Hot sun, August day. They're working in the sun, they're sweating, they're dirty. Guy walks up to the first bricklayer. He says, what are you doing? He's all dirty. He's got a scowl on his face. He's, what am I doing? I'm making $20 an hour. He asks the next brick, what are you doing? Brick, and he's all dirty. He's got a scowl on his face. He's sweating. He goes, what are you doing? He says, I'm laying bricks. What the hell you think I'm doing? He asks the next bricklayer, what are you doing? He looks up. He's dirty. He's sweaty. He's got a smile. He says, I'm building a cathedral. Right? Same thing. You see? And that carries us to higher consciousness. That connects us. That greater purpose, that greater service. It's not I put chairs out and shoot video. It's we're building a community that's connected internationally all over this planet right now, that's pulsating together, dreaming together. And now we're doing it right. Yeah. So what is your mission? The second element, passion. You see, leadership is the transference of an emotion. If I want you to take a certain action, I can give you every logical reason or did bop, 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 until you feel like taking action, yes, you're not taking action, correct? Yeah. So higher conscious leadership is not disconnected in some robotic way. It's even deeper connected to the emotional content you have because you're connected to that mission. Is everybody following? Nobody gets excited unless you're excited. Isn't it true? This is going to be a great evening. No, I don't think so. We're heading in the wrong direction. Yeah. So then you ask yourself, is this my passion? If it's not, tune it up. Tune it up. Move on. Move on. I love that line. You know, I think about it lately. I don't know why, but I love that line in the New Testament. I've not come with a whatever. I come with a sword. Breaking those old habits, letting go of those old imagery that you have of yourself, that identification that's not serving you anymore, you got to cut it with a sword and let it go to move on. The third element I'll share with you is vision. See, everything in life happens twice. First here, and then out there, right? Now, I've made that statement in front of thousands and thousands of people through my career, and not one person has ever disagreed with it. A lot of people talk about a lot of things that I say, but they never argue with that statement. And so you have to ask yourself, if I'm a leader, what is my vision? What am I leading people towards? Can I speak it? Can I give the word of what that vision is? Can I share that vision? See, in leadership, you can't do it as one. It's all about the team. It's never one. It's serving the team, not the team serving you. It's the other way around. But that vision needs to be shared by everybody. And so you need communication with your team at that level. What is the vision? Where do you see it going? Share the vision. They begin to make the right decisions without you. Mm-hmm. And now you've created leaders. You see? And that's what we have to do moving forward. That's the role of a leader, is to create leaders. That's our real role. Because that's the way we do the math, guys. Do the math. We're going over a cliff. Turn on the TV if you don't believe me. We need healing. We don't just need healing, we need a healing revolution. That's what we need. A healing revolution. Look around. Look around you. Look to your family. Look to your friends. Look to addiction. See the alcoholism. See the anxiety. See the depression. Was living on a walk street in Manhattan Beach. Nice guy, came over to the house, played a little bit of music. A week later, he's hanging from his living room. Rich guy, too. A lot of money. We need a healing revolution. And it begins with us. And I'll close on that note. We'll only be as good of leaders as we are internally connected to that higher consciousness. We can never be better than that. I was thinking today at the beach as well, how corporate leadership excludes emotions. They have they handle it. Use active listening and say, I hear what you're saying, Bill. It sounds like you're very upset about that. No, isn't there something, can we take that to a little higher level than that? Phoning in a conversation. You know what I'm saying, Fernando? Yeah. And we get to do that only to the degree that we can connect with that in our own selves, and no greater. I want to close with one tip, and I know Hannah's going to get some more out of me. Hang out with people. Hang out with people. Hang out with people that have the same vision as you, that share the same sense of mission as you. Because that's where energy is created. And that's why community is so vital for all of us. Because we left an old identity. And now we're in this new identity. We need people even more. Because now we're really connecting. And some of those old relationships don't work anymore. For whatever reason. They probably weren't working before. And now you see it and say, no, I can't do it. And so community is essential. And that's something, if you're interested in growing in any of the things that we talked about tonight, and I'll be bringing up a couple more things, I'd suggest to you that you use this power. It's called entrainment. Entrainment was discovered by a Dutch physicist in the 16th century. He had two pendulums. And regardless of the length of the string or the weight of the pendulum, after a time, the pendulums began to swing together. It sounds almost unbelievable, but if you go on YouTube, you can see 32 pendulums getting in sync after about 3 minutes. Nobody understands how entrainment works, but entrainment works. We don't understand a lot of things. My point is this. If you want to be a great leader, you have to surround yourself with great leaders. And that's why I come up to Santa Barbara a lot. No lie. No lie. And what do I always tell you? I always learn. I always learn. We need each other. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. I want to take a moment and just give us all some integration time, maybe just a breath together, because wow. I'm still receiving all of that.
Wow. Hello. I didn't know.
Yeah. I was sort of awaiting something to feel provocative in my system, and I actually fully agreed and resonated with everything that you shared. But what I am reflecting on is when we receive truth, it can be activating to mistruth that is still bound in our body systems and in our energy systems. And so I see how your transmissions of higher consciousness and just sharing what has been true for you can be highly activating to some people's experience. And so I just wanted to name that. If anyone was feeling anything in particular, just allow that to be felt. And what was just shared was profound. So I want to bring definition to this healing revolution, because I feel healing is subjective. And honestly, a lot of people that I talk to are resistant to healing. They don't need healing. What do you mean?
Right.
So let's talk about what does that mean to you?
Well, to me, healing is becoming whole. It's coming in the realization that this image, this conglomeration of beliefs and so on that was given to us, that was imposed on us, and we were told is our real self, when it's not our real self. And then trying to live consistently, making that right, that it is our real self, but knowing that it's not our real self. And so there's this real division. You look at a baby, so pure, aren't they? So infinite, so eternal. It's amazing. When I did my third ayahuasca trip, or fourth, and came back, I got old baby pictures. A lot of people do that. I thought I was original, but like a lot of people do that. And then we get screwed up, and that separation from our soul, and I'll give it that name just for tonight at least, our true self, undivided consciousness, is lost. And so when I talk about healing, I'm talking about regaining that connection with that self, right? To lead. Yeah, Paul, little Paul who grew up a Jewish boy. And went to school and nobody liked it. His mother did this and his father, that one. The Hannah, grew up, yeah, that one, yeah. I was going, yeah. Yeah. You see? So healing is real simple. Healing is living from that presence that's pure love and expressing it through the self.
And that requires an acknowledgement that when we are not fully whole, then we are therefore fragmented to some degree.
Yes.
And so there's a vulnerability in our humanity to proclaim that. And I feel it occurs when we are not mirrored the unconditional love and safety that is needed to sustain the deep knowing of our wholeness through the connection to whatever we want to call it, source energy, divinity, God.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's where people get stuck up here.
Yeah.
And you said in your share that we're always leading people. And in my perspective, we are either leading through the end of the spectrum that is perhaps represented by fear, right? The cones at the beach today.
Yeah.
Or we're leading from the other end that's infused with love.
That's so true. Yeah, isn't it? It's binary, isn't it? Yeah. It's not a little bit. No. No. Either I'm generous with the people around me and I'm kind. Not as a intellectual exercise. But I'm really feeling it. Yeah. It's easy to see connection. I'm always amazed. I go on to YouTube. This is one of my favorite things. And I know, see, I told you I get controversy. I watch these gurus, and I think, how could anybody in their right mind follow this person who's so apparently flawed in every single way? No, just from a logical point of view. And he's got like 8 million followers. Like go to his thing and stuff. I'm going like, it's so obvious. This guy is so screwed up. We have to look to ourselves. There's a story in the book about a diamond thief. He's the best diamond thief in Europe. And he would go to the diamond district, and this guy goes and he buys the biggest diamond he could find, the biggest, most precious diamond. And the diamond thief follows the guy after he buys the diamond. And the guy goes to a train, and he jumps on the train. And the diamond thief goes into the train, and the guy when he'd go and he's pickpocket. He was a master best world renowned. He goes through every single thing. He goes through everything. Goes through his clothes, and finally gets off the train. And he goes to the guy and he goes, Listen, I'm the best pickpocket in the world. I'm the best diamond thief in the world. How did you do that? He said, I put it where you'd never think of it. And he reached into his pocket, the thief's pocket, and he pulled out the diamond. We all have the diamond within us. So why am I looking to a teacher? And if you're going to look to anything as a leader, look to the medicine. Look to the medicine. Ask the medicine for help. The entities will come. They will serve you. They will teach you. But don't look to a human being. And then to kiss another human being's feet? What person on earth would allow another human being to kiss their feet? But somebody who's deranged. I don't care what the condition. Sorry if I upset half the room. Oh, people don't talk to me. No, half the psychedelic community. Bree, tell them. She'll tell you. She knows. She comes and tries to plead my case. No, it doesn't help.
It's interesting, the leadership or pseudo-leadership that's represented in gurus. Mm-hmm. And this notion that I'm receiving this reflection as you're sharing, of people are kissing the feet because of fear of being excluded or fear of loss. It seems there's this deep desire to have community and to be included. And without proper leadership that's rooted in the elemental qualities that you've named, there's some confusion happening out there.
I would call it corruptness.
There we go.
Not confusion.
Yeah.
And to make millions of dollars of people suffering.
Mm-hmm.
All these, just ask yourself, with all these pitches for enlightenment, more than a Grant Cardone event, name 10 enlightened people you know. With all the talk about it, how about 5? How about 3? 2? 1? No. So all these years and all these promises and all the enlightenment, and we don't know one person that's made it, except the ones that say they do, which are obviously haven't made it. If you say you do, that's an obvious perception. It doesn't take a genius to figure that one out. Right? Yeah. So if we're not looking inside, and we're not present inside, how can we bring anything outside? Except fear, like you said. I mean, that's all that they give. It's every decision. Working with corporate leaders so long, I would just, sometimes I wanted to scream. I just wanted to scream. It was so political and so, it wasn't, nobody was on the mission. If we were on the mission to make these products sell and, get out to people, then we wouldn't be sitting here fighting about bullshit. Like if we just agreed with that, that's the thing. But no consciousness. And fear of losing their position, fear of not getting, their promote, all that stuff that works within those hierarchical systems, which don't serve us anymore.
And I feel many of us in the psychedelic exploration space are sort of rising in that consciousness to acknowledge that whoever we thought we were, per the imposition of society or our family, is falling away. And there is an integration of that recognition. Mm-hmm. And there's some extreme expressions of that recognition that I witness, and there's rumors of as well. And so,
like what?
I mean, people becoming imbalanced and not being able to sustain the lifestyle of being a human on the earth. And there are some essential needs that we need to survive. And when people become very heightened in either psychedelic or altered states through other practices, they lose touch with being grounded in a communal and shared reality. And I've witnessed that in various different expressions of severity.
Yeah. I've seen that same division. You know, I took a break. I didn't share this in my story, but in 1981, alcohol. You know, back then, a lot of us, I just speak for myself now, I couldn't make discernment between different white powders, Karen. And so I slid off, like, you know, should I do yoga or heroin? You know, yeah, white powders. Like I would think, oh, this is the same as that. You know, a psychedelic is a pill or a thing. You know, it sort of got slippery. And then I became addicted to all that stuff and took a break. And in that break, which lasted a long time, years, I worked strictly with people that weren't doing psychedelics. And I found that there was just as much separation and division that you're describing in those groups without psychedelics. Animosity. I did work on Wall Street. I cut my teeth as a consultant, sales and marketing and management on Wall Street. They're funky down there, you know. I mean, there were times I'm getting guns, you know. I'm not kidding. You see division, you see violence, separation. So I think blaming psychedelics on what you're describing is a non-starter. And I'll tell you why. Back in the 60s, the Grateful Dead would play in the park. They were the fish of the day. And by the way, I don't really like the Grateful Dead, but they were free and they were in the park. And they weren't my favorite band, let's put it that way. And 10,000 people would do acid. 20,000 people would do acid. And there might be somebody on the side, sort of with a girlfriend, like whimpering or something, oh baby or something in the corner. But there weren't people running around nude, you know, jumping off trees, jumping off buildings. And we have to bring back a certain thing. It's called indigenous research. And we have a history. We have a heritage. And we're creating it right now at District 216. Right now, right this minute. In the things that we're doing, the things that we're saying, and the culture that we're building. Right now. Right here. And that started back then. And to give that respect. And that's why I say we didn't have safety, because the vast majority of people, there's a thing in war, I'm not a big fan of war, I don't really understand war, except what causes it, but beyond that. But I know there's a thing in war where they say, well, this will be the cost to win that battle. This will be that cost. And I haven't seen the figures, and I'm going to Google it. And it occurred to me as I prepared for today's talk, I said I really have to Google it, but we've been traveling all day, but I'm going to. How many actual freakouts there were in those years when acid was given out for free to everybody. Everybody who could talk and open their mouth. And I'm just telling you the truth, people. I'm not trying to preach something or say we should do this today at all. I'm not saying that at all. I didn't think it would work today. I'm saying that the thing about safety, we do a thing called the Psychedelic Institute of Los Angeles, the Awakening Conference. I hope everybody here comes. Jacob's going to speak on the 29th and talk about community. We had one speaker on DMT. Remember? Yeah. And there were people up there talking about the God molecule and the potential to guide us in ways that we've never dreamed about, to gain wisdom, to get insights. And there's another woman on the panel who I picked. I'm guilty. And all she did was talk about the terrors of DMT. The terrors and the psychotic reactions and and back then, and I just want to put it out there, and I'm sorry if it offends anybody, but back then if somebody was having a bad trip, you gave them a glass of wine and a story. It wasn't a big thing. Just moved on, drink a glass of wine, go to sleep. That's it. There was never anything dramatic about, oh my God, what are we going to do? It wasn't anything like that. And I think other people who were around then would share the same sentiment with me at that time. And so the bigger problem is that everybody's playing Thelma and Louise right now. They're in a car and they're going off the cliff of the Grand Canyon. We killed 17,000 children in Gaza. 17,000 children. We, everybody in this room, collectively, we did that. We did that. 17,000 children, babies and children. We can do better. We can do better than that. We did that. There's no us and them. It's one pool, and we all swim in the same pool of poopy. We did that. And so if somebody's going to have, that was on the edge, and I'm sorry for that 1 in 1 million or 2 in 2, whatever, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. I go to the grocery store and people are walking up and down the aisles talking to themselves. I'm sorry. My daughter's on SSRIs. I said, can you get up? I don't know what would happen. Addicted, worse than any heroin addict I've ever seen, to pharmaceutical drugs. Safety. In a world that's blowing up in front of our eyes, that's dominated by social media, that's destroying people, destroying lives. Addiction rates that are off the charts, beyond belief. Suicide rates that unbelievable. That's what they're tracking, not the so-called accidental ones. No safety. No, people, we need a healing revolution. We need to get on board, all hands on deck. Whatever you can do. Whatever you can do. What's your role? What's your role? So when you say safety, oh, yeah, my next door neighbor, yeah, he didn't do that on a psychedelic. He didn't do that on 3 grams of mushrooms. He didn't hang himself that way. No, the medicine didn't do that. And I didn't say this, but if you're involved with this, you got to be brave. You got to be brave. You got to be brave. If you're really in it, you got to be brave. Psychedelics, class 1. Heroin, fentanyl, same category. Doesn't matter what you or I think. You're messing with something. You got to be fearless. You got to have courage if you're in this level of awakening. Yeah. You got to be like David Hodges. Take me to jail. Take me to fucking jail, excuse my French, for selling mushrooms at my church. Take me. They took $500,000 worth of mushrooms and never charged them. Take me. Take me. Come and take me. Charge me with something, you creeps. Bravery, you see. And David will look at you in the eyes and he'll say, he said it to me 3 times, I'm ready to go to jail. I said, David, you're not going to jail. Stop already with the jail. But if you're not ready, then what are we talking about? Safety? Safety, huh? Safety. Does anybody feel what I'm saying right now? Anybody feel the crack that's out there? The division, the divisiveness, the tribalism, the separateness, the us and themism. It's never been this way, people. I've been around for a couple of years. I'm telling you. Not at this level, no. This is an intense level. Destruction and creation simultaneously. You know that one. And this is going fast. You got to plug in here. If this is resonating, you got to talk to people. You'll talk to the right people you meet here. You got to be informed on a day-to-day basis, real time. By the time it's in a newsletter and you're reading about this stuff, it's already old news. It happens here first in the community. Then it happens out there, right, Jacob? That's the way it happens. And that's the way we nurture it. From the community outward. I'm sorry if I got on a rant.
All your passion is showing.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
And I have a framework I'd like to share with you to see how it lands. And for me, like, I really anchor in the mantra that it's always right now. And so if we lose touch with love and we acknowledge that, that is then the moment to anchor back in. It's right now. Yeah. And that was feeling relevant for me when you were saying, you know, it's us. It's the collective. It's the unified collective consciousness that we're all co-creating. And as soon as we rise to that acknowledgement, it's right now to anchor back into a loving awareness that we've done that. And can we feel present to at least accepting that to begin? Yeah. I just wanted to share that and see if that feels true for you.
Yeah. Well, the more we stay in the presence, the more everything starts to resonate with that. You know, the world is transformed. And it's so hard to accept that from a control ego point of view. You know, that when I let go and I surrender, then everything just flies in beyond what I could dream. Doing the calling, doing the work. You know, and that's a cautionary tale on visioning. You know, it's not what you want, it's about listening to find out what the vision is for you. Those are very different things. I used to think, well, creative visualization, a friend of mine wrote the book on it, and she was on Oprah and everything, and I said, well, you just picture a car and you'll get a car, you know, all that stuff. Picture your next boyfriend and you'll get your next boyfriend. That's not it. That's like second level. That's not it. It's third level, really. First level is, show me the vision of my greatest expression in life. I can't even imagine it. I can't even, my mind is so screwed up from that little thing, you know. That little kid that was pushed around. I can't think that big. Going back in. And that's why, again, I'm sorry. Technique doesn't work. It doesn't work. Any technique doesn't work. What technique is good for is to relaxing us. Technique, no, it is. It's great for relaxing.
The illusion of safety.
Yeah,
through the ego.
Right. I'm relaxed. So that's, which is a good beginning to really be present. Yes? Yeah. So it does serve a purpose, but it doesn't get you to enlightenment. Otherwise, all my friends who meditated for 8 hours a day should be enlightened. I mean, how much more can you do then? I mean, I know, you know people. You've had them as guests, 8 hours, 10 hours for weeks and months and years. They should have gotten it. Then they don't. So I'm not making a criticism based on, you know, what I think. I'm based on what I see, which is that doesn't work for lasting success. But what you said works. What you said really works. Which is to see that, to be present with that, to allow that to come in. And especially when you want to come from that ego, especially when you find yourself, you know, triggered and boom, you know, and you go, oh shit, oh, I don't believe I said that. That was so unloving, you know, like, and I was in such a great love space before that, you know, but that trigger is so embedded, you know, it's so tightened into who you are that it's just that's where the relaxation techniques, commonly called meditation, work. to relax you. But who's meditating? It's the mind watching the mind. So really, what have you solved? You're still in the mind. And then you finish the meditation. I had a meditation coach for 5 or 10 years in New York, or like a private coach. No, right? That's a real upper class thing. I had a meditation coach. And we did retreats. We did a retreat outside Paris. We did a retreat in the Berkshires, week-long type things. And I'd go do a session with him, and we'd do a body scan, and he could read me like a book. And, let go and be present, and guide me and things like that. And really taking me to presence, but allowing me to get there, kind of what we just talked about, right? And I'd be in such a bliss state. And then I'd go out onto Amsterdam Avenue in New York City, and the smell of the garbage, and the cab who cut me off, and some weirdo who's I'm worried is going to attack me, and everything's gone. Whatever just happened in that house is gone. There's something wrong with that. And I took it seriously. I mean, I wasn't a day, I meditated for, 30 years, every day. So I'm not saying this from and I'd go meditate in the morning, and then start the day, 8 cups of coffee, and let's get going with some stuff, and I got to get some things done, and that's it. Well, what happened? Now, meditation is when we're connected to that soul during the day. Awakened. That's called meditation. That's real meditation. Yeah.
I feel like something you said earlier in your presentation about landing in the feelings of truth, or the gnosis, is another word that represents that. And it seems that your early psychedelic experiences really solidified that experience of what is true and supported the falling away of everything else that wasn't that. And I just want to share that I do proclaim that I am always enlightening. I am always...
that's a good way to look at it, yeah.
I am always expanding awareness to areas where there wasn't yet awareness. And as we talk about healing and higher consciousness, it is just in every moment that my consciousness expands, I am enlightening. And so in this instance that I'm just going to go into of smelling the trash, I might contract in judgment, fear, that's gross. I might have a disgust response. Projected outside of myself, projected onto the garbage.
Yeah.
And so my practice would be landing back into accepting that I've just contracted in judgment. Yeah. And my framework is that any time I am contracting or closing my heart energy in a perception that it's onto another or outside of myself, I'm merely closing my heart to myself. And that's what you were speaking to earlier about we are each other and we are in this unified experience. And every time we think that we're holding resentment towards someone or something, it's really onto ourselves.
Always, yeah. Always, 100%.
Yeah.
Listening to somebody's criticism, you can always just know that that's what they think of themselves.
Yeah, it's really revealing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not to take it personally when people do that.
And when we explore this, taking that transpersonal beyond the personal perspective, and we start to sustain this experience of holding loving energy or holding the evolution of always enlightening, then that is how we lead and where we lead from.
I see it a little different, or I would just maybe piggyback on that. I see it as it's not a problem of getting anywhere because we're there. We are the infinite right now. So we really don't have to get anywhere. The problem is the ego thinks we have to get somewhere. And that's where the problem comes in, right? That says we don't have it all. We are missing a piece. We are less than. That's when the trouble starts. So to live and to lead, oh God, imagine if everybody in this room, we just started leading from that place, right? We could affect so many people all around us, right? So we're leading from this place with presence. The potential is unlimited, but what's the problem? The problem is the ego gets in the way. So it's not a matter of bringing out presence. Presence is, it's like the sun shining, but the cloud's in front of the sun, but the sun is shining, but it's the ego that takes over. So the exercise, and it's not a technique, but it's just it's an observing of how it works. To begin to observe how it works is that you take an action, and then there's a judge that judges the action and says that was bad or that was good. Yes? Yeah, that's what we do. And that becomes our turmoil, and that causes all of our agony, and that causes so much of our angst on a psychological level all the time, because that judgment and the judger. But the next level, and you can all do it right now in an instant, is we see the judge and the judger are the same thing. They're both expressions of the ego. It's just like the tails and the heads are the same coin. And by continuing to see the judge and the judger and not being the judge, and then you criticize the judge, oh God, aren't we relentless? I had a friend once, she said, Paul, how do you live with yourself? You know, like you're relentless, like your level of what you expect from yourself is, you can't live like that. What we expect and how we judge and just incessantly. And to watch that, just watch it and you'll see it change. You'll see change happen automatically without any technique, with no guru, no religion, nothing. I always think, did God like say, okay, you're all perfect, but you need somebody to help you? You know, like, no, he never did that deal. That wasn't the deal. That wasn't the deal. The deal was you got everything. You totally got it. No missing piece. I don't know if I went off topic there. I usually do.
Yeah, you're leading us in so many great directions, and what I receive from that is that when we create just enough space to observe the judgment, which is really just one flavor of this internal experience that creates looping or closure, simply by creating just enough space to see that that's happening,
absolutely,
it starts to reroute.
Yeah,
feel lighter.
It's so true, Hannah. And people, I speak to a lot of newbies with psychedelics and people just getting into it. And we talk about this at our Psychedelic Institute. The real role of psychedelic that's the real role, is to create that space. To get that couple of hours without the judge and the judger, and just, and that's what we got right in the 60s. That we could just get rid of him and walk through the forest and talk to the trees and be with the animals and dive into the stream and get run out of town for skinny dipping and all that stuff. But we were connected, you know what I'm saying? We were free. We had the space. And we loved that space between the identity. You went to 4 years of college and like all that. Like everybody was pretty smart back then too. I mean, the people in the scene were, Tim Leary was no slouch. Harvard professor, Richard Alpert. I mean, the whole gang at the leadership level, and I was at that level. And people at that level, they were smart people. But those are the people that need the space the most. They need that relief from the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I've been working in that rate for that whole 30 years. So I went, holy shit. And then I came back to psychedelics. through a need, through some physical ailments. One particular ailment that was life-threatening. And I found my way back to psychedelics in 2018. And I knew the word healing. And I knew the word integration. Mm-hmm. And I knew the word ceremony. We didn't know that word back then either. And I knew the word sacred. And I knew the word, and that didn't deny what we were just talking about, that beautiful bliss that psychedelics can offer. And make sure you understand that the word recreation means to recreate health. That's from the Greek word. We can't live without recreation. It's where we get our joy, where things we do that we love, that we express, right? We share. So there was nothing wrong with the 60s, but now in my state physically saying, this could go one of two ways, that when you get the call, I'm on an elevator in Toronto, just finished a business talk at some company, and I'm away to see a friend, and phone rings, and it's from Los Angeles, a number, I don't know, my doctor. Nepal, the test showed up bad. Boy, life changes. Life changes in a heartbeat. And that's when I went back to psychedelics and really understood them from this deeper level of healing. We didn't have microdose. Microdose was when you didn't have enough dope. That was called a microdose. It was like, I only have this much hash. Okay, that's a microdose. Yeah, but otherwise we didn't have microdose. You did. And by the way, we did acid. Today it's 100 micrograms. Not to go into a lot of details, but back then it was 250. What happened? I'm just wondering, why was 150 stripped out? Those were a good 150 micrograms, that extra 150. But yeah, not to diverge, but I think we were on topic with that. Now healing, and then I opened my eyes, and I really started to look around, and I thought, how could it be that so many people are suffering? How could it be? Where have we gone wrong?
Everyone's suffering all the time.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm saying. Exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying, were we born on earth to suffer? That's my question. I don't think we were. And so, to me, psychedelics offer us that awakening, not the integration piece, but the awakening to what our suffering, what's causing our suffering. That separation of the soul from the ego, that living from the selfish, living from the me-centered life of I want me, I want me, I want me, I want me. More. That's the core. That's the issue, that we're not living from that place. And psychedelics awaken people to that. And by the way, I think the unsafe parts aren't in the ingestions of the psychedelics. I think it's afterwards. Yes? Yeah, it's afterwards. And it's not physical harm. It's just, doing crazy shit. Because, and getting to know that medicine. And know it deeply. Know it like and the most intimate person in your life. Know it with that kind of an intensity, and it will always do the right thing for you. It will always give you direction. If you like my book, thank the microdose. Most of it was informed by mescaline and microdose, and words came out and flowed, and in a beautiful way. And that's what these medicines are here for, to enhance that way. So miraculously, I was healed, and in one night. And if you don't believe me, I got the tests to show it.
I believe you.
No, some people say, well, it's just a story. Sometimes you do things on psychedelics and you can't even believe that really happened. Like you go back. Anybody have that experience? I do. We go did that really happen? So you have to tell it a lot of times, right, to know that it really happened, and then it has solidity. Otherwise, no, that shit couldn't happen. It doesn't happen like that.
I mean, in my perspective, I don't need to figure out if it happened or it didn't because I received impact. And whatever the impact is where the awakening was found.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
I like that.
As an extension of what you were saying. But
definitely in that moment, in that instant, in beyond moment, in that reality, in that presence. Yeah, that's where the awakening is.
Yeah.
That's why when people, you said it, I think you said it so well before. You said, I'm not enlightening, I don't have enlightenment, I'm enlightening. That, and life keeps mirroring stuff that shows us, like fear, like, oh, I got that shit covered. And then like something comes up and you go like, but not that. No, I got it covered when it's like somebody cuts their finger, I run for a Band-Aid, but like I don't really have like fear covered. But then it flashes you in some instance and you go, oh man, yeah, I got work. Yeah, I have to, but it all begins with that awareness. Everything begins with awareness. Awareness we're in the room right now. Awareness of our bodies. Awareness of other people. Awareness of our connection. That's where everything begins, with that awareness. Because when we're sensitive to somebody else, it's hard to mistreat them. Yeah. It's really hard when we're really listening and sensitive. But we, brush it off and, oh, that's not it. No, that's your mission, silly boy. That's what you came here to do, was to work that out, to not harbor petty stuff, to not be jealous, to not, to live from that soul that has everything. I did a really nice excursion up in Topanga about a year ago. I didn't expect it was going to be much. It was about 3 grams at a dome with a person, a friend of mine who's a shaman. I didn't expect much, 2.5, 3, or maybe it was 3.5 grams. And it was devastating. And I could barely breathe for 3 hours. And I moaned endlessly. To the point where he would come over and do like a fisheye lens, like, "Are you okay?" And I would look up and go like, "No, I'm great," And as long as somebody can say, "No, I'm great," they're okay. By the way, you can write that one in the safety book. As long as they can say the words, "No, I'm good," then you don't have to worry. And the message, and I was told not to share a lot of details about this, but the message was very clear. You have everything right now. And that what we do in life is we create paths. We create these like little mazes to the things we want because we believe we don't have it all. Everybody following what I'm saying? But we forgot that we had it all. And so we begin to look for that something that's going to fix and fill and be the all. And that's the way we spend our life. That's why I spent 30 years of my life. For the money, for the next book, for the radio show, for this platform, for the TV. For that, to get that. Which I had all, the diamond was in my pocket the whole time. I had the diamond. Right?
It's a great remembrance, and I'm so glad that it was, you've obviously been gifted with the purpose and the passion to share that message in the many ways that you have. And I feel curious, just to close out our piece before we turn it to the audience. Mm-hmm. What's happening at the Psychedelic Institute in Los Angeles?
Oh, thank you. I can do a plug.
Yeah.
June 29th, right, Bree? 29th, we're having our chapter meeting. It's a great event. We sold it out last time. We'll be announcing it this week. Psychedelic Institute, Los Angeles. Is that our Instagram? Psychedelic Institute, Los Angeles Instagram. We'll put the flyer up. We'll also send it up Jacob's going to give us all your emails and stuff, and we'll shoot out an invitation to that. And then our big conference is September 28th and 29th in Los Angeles. If you want to speak or be a vendor, please come up and talk to Bree. and we'll do a call and we'll see, if you're a fit and this type of thing. But that's our big event. It's our third year. It's different than Jacob's events, different vibe, I would say. Yeah, it's I know you had a good time. Yeah, it was fabulous. We have a little bit of a following now. People are coming to their third awakening, which is really cool. We have a beautiful place for it, a manor house. It's a little tight. I wouldn't even say it's tight, but it's cozy, but it's this gorgeous manor house that will have music and talks all day on all the different substances, from ayahuasca to DMT to microdosing to LSD to how to prepare. We have shaman researchers. We have some scientists. They'll speak on the scientific aspects. We have a great keynoter on that. We try to, promote healing with psychedelics. It's very simple. I mean, it's really an LA version of District 216. It really is. I mean, we do it more gritty, that's all. But it's about healing. You guys are a little bit too refined up here for us. We be in the hood, man. We be West Side, but we still be in the hood, But it's about healing with psychedelics, and it's about community, and it's about education. So all of our events have education, have community and culture. We have music, art, and promote the community in that way, and bring people together. And so it's been fun growing the community, and I know it's a drive for a lot of you guys, but we've been making it up here a bunch. So see if you can make it down there. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I would like to turn it to the audience if anyone has any questions for Paul. You will be brought the mic by Paxson for our online audience.
I wanted to ask you, what's your view on compassion?
And when you say compassion, what do you mean?
Or where does it come from? Where does that come from to be compassionate?
Well, there's two forms, and one form is obligatory.
How can there be two forms? Isn't there just one form?
No, there's one form of compassion that comes from your identity of something like this. I'm a good person. I feel bad for those dogs that are in the cold on TV. And to be a good person, I'm going to send them money because I have compassion for those dogs. You see what I'm saying? And then there's another compassion.
But what does that have to do with money? Why money doesn't have to do anything with the
No. I was just saying I want to take action as a reflection of my compassion. Wasn't about money, but it was about. Or I see, let's say, I'm doing it to maintain a certain image of myself. That's what I'm saying. I'm acting out of compassion. That's different from, I see you as me. And I can't mistreat you. I have to be kind. Whether we're in business or we're in whatever. I see you as me. It's not coming from a desire to live up to an image, or in this situation you show compassion. The man can't get his luggage up on the airplane. You help him, you get it up there. I'm that kind of a person. I do good. I'm a do-gooder. I do good. Right? And then there's the other one of there's no thinking. It's not an intellectual thing. You're me. Why would I ever be violent to you? Why would I ever to be anything but kind to you?
I don't know why.
Only if yeah, my ego is telling me I need something from you, or, that type of thing. That I'm mean to you, yeah. But that's coming from that other place. And so that compassion is very volatile. It's really dependent on a lot of different things. Your image of yourself that day. I pride myself, I give to charities. Emerson had a wonderful quote. He said, when you see somebody who needs help, don't give them because you feel sorry. He said, that's not how you give. That's not compassion. Emerson said, that's not compassion. Because he's making you feel guilty. That's not compassion. Or feel sorry for him. That's not compassion. That's right. That's exactly right, Karen. That's exactly what I'm saying. So yes, but which kind? I don't know if that answered your question. As we come from that place and live from that place, that kind of kindness comes out automatically. We don't have to think, oh, there's a man who and intellectualize something. It's instantaneous. You just act. There's no thinking. Does that make sense?
Wow.
Wow, okay. I'm sorry if I blew your mind.
Hi, I wanted to hear a little more about integration, because I'm not as familiar with that. When you said you used to not know about it and now integration is something, can you expand on that and why it's important?
Sure. We didn't see, we thought the enemy was the man. You got to understand back then, we're being persecuted, no less than the early Christians or the Jews or anybody else. You got to understand, you had rocks thrown at you. You understand what I'm saying? That there was a real visual, physical response to who you represented that offended people. At that. Yeah, the hippie type of thing. And so we thought that was the problem. We thought the man was the problem. The man who's doing the war and killing people in Vietnam. The man who's keeping these unjust institutions in place.
Which man?
Oh, the man is always the man, all institutions, all power. The woman on the beach with the kids, making them sit next to each other, 3 inches apart, tight as a... That, she was the man. Yeah, that's the man. The man is telling you, you ain't soul. You gotta, if you want to fit in, you got to fit in. That was another thing. We had an expression back then. I'm glad this is on tape. And it was called freak. And we prided ourselves in being a freak. And it's not a freak like a freak show or somebody weird. Freak in the terms of different, thinking differently, acting from a different place. And you need to accept that. If you're leading the psychedelic revolution, let it be known you're a freak. You're a freak. Whether you're doing a ceremony, you're turning your friend on to microdose for the first time, you're a leader, and you're a freak. And to own that. Because that's going to be true. Because the things that you're hearing tonight, you don't hear a lot, right? If you're not ready to look different, after being on stages in every state in the United States and Europe and Asia, in my first awakening, I got on stage and I came out. It was like, I'm not gay, but I felt like this is what it must be like. Like, I do psychedelics, like in front of a whole crowd of people. Wow. So we didn't understand the real problem, my point. The problem wasn't the man. It was the man in our head. That was the problem. We didn't understand that the mind is the problem. And I don't want to put it in negative terms because we're going to love that little thing. We've got to love it up. We don't want to make it bad. We used to do acid. We'd do like 500 micrograms, 1,000 micrograms. We're going to kill that mother. We knew it was the problem. I mean, it's obvious, And this whole thing about ego death, like that's all we wished for. Grateful Dead people, God, don't you understand the name? Like, it was never like, I did an ego death. We're always like, ego death. like that's what I don't get today, honestly. I really don't. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm talking about bliss. What are you talking about? You're talking about attaching and not letting go, and then you're in trouble? Oh, that? Yeah, I know what that is. But that ain't ego death. That's ego clawing to stay on, you know. This problem with the mind has to be addressed. That's what integration is. There's other elements to it that need to be recognized. You know, somebody takes psychedelics for the first time, their whole life, they're eating garbage, they don't exercise, they're 200 or 300 pounds overweight, their son doesn't talk to them, their wife estranged. They got some work to do. Just, you know what I mean? Just with whatever realization they got, like, and they look at that and they say, there's some real work to do on the external plane, not just on the mind, but I think that's minor compared to what I'm talking about right now. So, but there are, and good integration coaches that I know will talk about those issues. You know, what do you eat? You know, you saw your God, now you're eating, you know, Dunkin' Donuts all day. You know, like, wait a minute, God likes Dunkin' Donuts, I'm sure, but like, not 12 of them, you know. It's like recognition that from the minute you get up, you got a problem. The mind starts to talk and lead you and tell you. Yeah, it happens all night. Yeah, I don't sleep. Forget about it. I don't know what age it happened. I don't, like 1 hour or two, whatever happens in there. Yeah, it happens all night too. Yeah, the mind is just relentless and real. And this is revolutionary. So let it be known. Real integration means you don't have thinking. You finally have peace. That's what real integration means. The true meaning of it. You have technical thinking. I'm going to my car, I have to turn the key. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about psychological thinking. Did I do the right thing? What did she think? Should I get back tomorrow? Should I wait 2 days? On that business deal, did I hurt your feelings? No, I didn't hurt you. Well, let's sit down on the rug and psychological thinking. Think about it. That's your problem. That's your problem, is your thoughts. What's your biggest anxiety? What's your biggest fear? Oh, you don't have big ones? Well, you got little ones all day. You know, did I do this right? What will my boss think? Will she like it? It's all day. It doesn't stop. And when we free ourselves from that, that's true integration.
So we're enlightening and we're integrating. We're not ever there all the way.
You know, it's one of those words, Karen, it's like God. You know, it's so abused, I can't use it. It's like an old, it's like a paper towel that's, you know, mopped up everything. Like, it's useless. Same with enlightenment. It's what she said.
She's enlightening.
You see that experience. You're thrown off kilter. You get into fear. Now's the game. Game on. Game on. No business for a year. Game on. That's why it's being presented. It's presented like, yeah, you got your shit together? Try this one. Try this one. People they want gradual enlightenment. And Karen, that's the trap. The trap is that enlightenment is sold as a gradual thing. And it is, because they're all scam artists. So you go and you keep paying and you keep going and you keep paying and you go to the retreats and you keep paying and you keep going. And they make a lot of money. Nobody ever gets to enlightenment, which is crazy, you know, like to offer something that nobody ever gets to, like nobody, except those that say they are, which we know they're not, right? And so now you have a misappropriation of enlightenment. There's no enlightenment state, so let's not use that. Let's say it's harmony. Let's use that word. Well, you're learning how to love. That's what I'm saying. It goes back to that, what's your mission? Does anybody ever trigger you? Yeah, okay. Yeah, and trigger means that we go into a bad space. That's what the word trigger. Trigger doesn't mean she triggered me into bliss. No, that's eating mushrooms. Like nobody triggers you into like total relaxation. No. Trigger means you went into a bad space. Now let's look at the beauty of this, and that's what the core of the book is about. The core of the book is about saying, this becomes our crucible. This becomes the path. That trigger, that becomes the path. And that's the beauty of it. We don't need the guru. The guru is right there. Boom. Observe. Observe the judge, or the judgment. And it's an instant. It's not a week. It's not 6 years. It's not silent retreats. It's not reciting mantras. Oh, one person doesn't talk to me. I said, you could just as well recite Coca-Cola. She hasn't spoken to me since then. You know who it is. Yeah. Big speaker. Yeah. Well, it's true. Yeah. Yeah, but you're the teacher. Yeah. So where is the student learning from? Those triggers. Business is bad, really bad. Mm-hmm.
Earlier,
she's breaking up with me. I got evicted. I have nowhere to live. By the way, this is true. Let's see how I could do with that. Got evicted because we had Bree's little puppy dog in the house for a couple of hours. Let's see how I could do with that. Can I do it? Can I do it? Yeah. And there's no work to get there. There's no work. There's no journey. You understand what I'm saying, Hannah? Yeah. You said it before. That's integration. But so it's not a state. It's enlightening. It's integrating. It's healing. But the lessons are in the leadership with your son at work. All the triggers, your partner, right? All that, there's an old saying, like, your partner knows which buttons to push because they installed them. And now we know who's who. When we do, it's interesting in the business of psychedelics. We had a very big ketamine sponsor at our first event a couple of years ago, and ketamine. I hear such good things. We have ketamine doctors here tonight. Do such great work, and he's yelling at all of his staff, calling them names, setting up the booth. What's wrong with this picture? Yeah. We never invited him back. That's not, that's not our vibe at Psychedelic Institute. You know that. No. You see what I'm saying? And he didn't understand that the ketamine should have showed him, should have informed him about, even if he, the problem wasn't that he was young. He didn't know. He didn't have the understanding of what he was doing to those people, being so violent like that, treating them that way, speaking to them like they were the other and not himself. That's what we have to get. That would change the world. That would change the world. If everybody in a group, we got more receptive and integrated, right? Integrated our soul into the way we're responding and lead from that. And sometimes you have to back up. That's where the psychedelics play such a big role, because they give you that little bit of space. And whether it's a pseudo psychedelic like Hape, or it's a DMT, or it's whatever it is, they all give you that space. They all give you that space from the you know who. I look at my life sometimes, and I've had so many opportunities, and I've screwed up so many opportunities, especially in the music business. So many opportunities. And I look back and I go, it was always the same thing. Ego. 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 It screws everything up. It blacks out your ability to function like a real human being and makes you an animal. Really puts you on an animal level. And so the more we observe it, we don't have to use technique. We just, I described it in a talk a couple weeks ago at our last chapter meeting as it's like a hot stove. If you see the hot stove and you burnt yourself once, you don't need willpower not to touch the stove again. You just know, don't do it. It's the same with your thoughts. It's exactly the same with your thoughts. Like if you know every time you talk to your best friend, you get in a fight about money or boyfriends or whatever. Don't talk about that. Let it go. Just leave it alone. You see a certain thought pattern, that trigger pattern we were just talking about. Same thing. You see it. You see it. I ain't biting on that one. I ain't biting on that one. I'm not going to, no. I'm not taking that one. And I'm not talking about suppression, and I'm not talking about running away right now. I did that for 20 years. More than that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about seeing it for what it is and saying, I'm just not playing. That's a different thing. Yeah, question over here?
No, actually in that moment of addressing what you're looking to attack, would actually going towards it, would that be challenging your ego, or was that going to really more express what the fear you're running from? What was your example of if is the case?
It's not going to or away. It's not that kind of movement. It's about starting to see certain patterns. For example, and I want to share with you, but you have to discover it for yourself to have any value, okay? But here's what it is. Every fear, every anxiety that you have is thoughts in time. That's right, exactly. Once you see that that's the nature of that, illusory, non-existent thoughts, which what thoughts are, they're total fucking nothing. I mean, they have no density. They have and they're in time. So it's like looking back, I should have said, I would have said, I could have said, why'd she say that? I used to be, I used to run, I used to, I used to, that one. Or I'm going to do it. I'm afraid that's going to happen. I'm afraid, is it going to, what's going to happen? It's always the same thing. So you start saying, okay, I see fear and anxiety. And then it gets so tricky. It tells you it's not. Once you get into this, it's really interesting. It'll start telling you, no, I'm not. No. I'm not fear and time. This is really important. You're getting evicted. No, it looks like fear and time to me. But your mind will trick you into saying, no, but this one's worth worrying about. In thought, you following what I'm saying, Karen? You have to be dedicated. You have to be interested in your own mind. You have to understand that it's the most important thing in your life. It determines the quality of your life every single day. And you're more interested on what's on Instagram. And you're more interested, I don't mean you. I'm not accusing you. I'm saying me. We get distracted. But the most important show is just right there inside. And we're off, and we never reap the benefits of that, giving that internal world our attention. And hey, I'm dedicated. And it's hard. I'm not telling you it's easy, because we've been programmed to look outside of ourselves for everything. Programmed to look for another person to be complete. Programmed to have a certain lifestyle to be worthy. Programmed to do everything that we're doing And this is freakdom. It's a different thing. And it requires commitment. As much commitment as you had for the greatest thing you ever achieved. To wake up in the morning and just sit, not meditate. Sit and be with your body. In that moment. An Orthodox rabbi, Hasidic or Chabad, came over to my house about a year ago. He goes around and he recruits some of the biggest stars and powerhouses in industry and business into the Jewish Chabad community or sect thing or whatever. The guy was so nervous. He couldn't sit for a second. He's flying here, flying with these celebrities all over the world, getting their money for good work. So frantic. So frantic he couldn't even be just present in the room for just a few minutes. If you do that in the morning, you're ahead of like 99% of the whole world. Just get up in the morning and just sit and be with your body. Yeah. Yeah.
So I get up in the morning and I sit and I be with my body and I call it meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very important practice to me. My intention is to stay with my body and get interested, stay interested. And of course I fail at that all the time. But that is my meditation. Not my only meditation. Sometimes I'm with space. Sometimes I'm actually sitting, I don't do this very much or for very long, but I'm actually sitting and being the immenseness. Well, a lot of the times I'm going into the earth. I'm grounding into the earth, and I'm being the earth. Or I'm occasionally being the Buddha. But I call this meditation.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is in a certain sense. But you see, we mistake experience for something of value. In the sense of you have this elative experience when you meditate and connect with your body. Mm-hmm. Now I go back. So it's the same kind of scenario. And again, I do that too. So, and I still do that meditation that Don taught me. It's supposed to be a body relaxation, and I teach it, and I've had thousands of people do it with me in rooms and things.
I was taught that the body meditates. That's the body meditates.
Yeah, the body meditates in that sense. But here's the thing. The thing is this. When that experience is over, follow me now. My mind is just raring to go. It's ready, willing, and able to screw. In fact, there's something that's more empowered by it after my meditation that my ego sometimes, it really felt bigger when I came back from my 20 minutes or 30 minutes, or I used to do it on the plane all the time when I was traveling. Almost comes back bigger. I'm back with the same problem of the cloud. My cloud didn't go away. It didn't go away in that meditation. It went away for that experience, but it didn't go away. There was no lasting quality to that experience. There's subtle residual effects, but generally when a fear, when an anxiety, when an upsetness, when a separation, when a conflict, when a trigger, that experience has not that much value to it. That was then, and in that moment when they said, yeah, your mother's a creep. Uh-oh. No, 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 no. That meditation, wherever I went, I lost my body, my kundalini, I saw lights, I had flashing. That was, I love that stuff. High dose people, I love those guys. I love those guys. 24 grams, 28 grams, 30 grams, 50 grams. I love that stuff. Yeah, and then you come back. Guess what? The same a-hole that you went away from is waiting for you. Nothing changed.
I'm just going to tell
the
you
damaged goods, you understand what I'm saying? That damaged goods didn't get any better. It didn't. It didn't. It's still just as damaged when you come back from that experience. That's the elusive quality to that. But during the experience, there's no doubt about it. You can feel on meditation. I've had a lot of really elative things, but I'm saying getting high on leadership is about how do we take that connection that happened in the meditation into relationships with other people.
I would say the connection is the awareness.
Yeah.
As I meditated, I've been meditating seriously for about 10 years. And as I meditated longer, I got to a place where if I stopped meditating, I realized that my life got worse. In other words, the quality of those thoughts and the repetitiveness of those thoughts and whether I got caught in a thought loop was worse. And I realized I had to spend my time on the cushion. It was that important to me. And as I meditated longer, there was more awareness in my life in the moment of the gap between impulse and choice, of the gap between something coming at me and me being able to digest it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And usually, until recently, what I did was I paused. I went away from whatever the conflict was and went, okay, I'm not ready to deal with this now. Psychedelics has brought me into the moment. Where in the moment present. I'm closer to the moment.
Right, you can watch
and
it.
I'm responding in the moment. Psychedelics got rid of a depression for me.
Mm-hmm.
Long-term depression. So I see the two things. For me, it's working in congruently, and I see the meditation is absolutely what has anchored me in and grounded me and let so many of my experiences be gentle. Mm-hmm. So many experiences gentle, so many revelations, just something that I kind of was aware of in myself, but then went, the significance of this. So I see them working together, and I think I just wanted to push back because I feel like, if I sit with my body, I am meditating.
You see, I told you. Yeah, it's hard to accept. But I don't want to diminish the effectiveness of meditation on so many things. But it is a mental process. It's not a spiritual process. Hitler meditated, so did all of his chiefs of staff. It's a way to quiet the mind. But it's a way to quiet the mind where the mind is quieting the mind.
But what came to me during psychedelics was that I don't go to it. I don't go to quiet. My mind doesn't go to quiet. Quiet comes to me. Quiet comes to me through something that is not me efforting about trying to not think.
Right.
What comes to
in
me...
in the meditation.
I mean, there's different things that I've done, but all I can say is that...
No, but I'm saying when that comes, is it in the meditation?
Oh,
that
is
quiet,
it meditation when the quiet comes?
Yeah.
Who knows? Like for me, it's an experience, right? And it's and how I get there and how I get awareness in my life and a certain amount of resilience is staying with my practice for me. that practice has
it's
been
great. You know,
grounding for me.
I think it's great.
Yeah, and
I really support
I'm,
it.
I'm saying
I'm-
that because I want to say I'm not like putting this out there as this is the way it is. Just that
It's for you. No, I get that. The thing what I'm saying is this. That's one conversation. I'm looking at a world with people with a lot of mental problems. And I see in those people, even after they meditate, they have the same problems, the same mental illness. So that's all I'm not trying to make an opinion about it. I'm just saying I see the same thing. And I'm immersed. I've lived my life surrounded by people who meditate, do yoga. 60 years. So it's informed what I'm seeing. You know, I was with my brother. He was with Ram Dass in India and with Maharaji. They were a little clique of like 10 or 20 people, my brother, who was my dear brother. And there's a picture in his house in Marin. He was sick and he died of hep C or liver cancer, I don't know. Just that was the end of that. But so we were in his house in Marin, and he showed me a picture of Maharaji, which, if you know the thing about Ram Dass and Maharaji in India, you know, and all these stories, right? So I wasn't in India, my brother was, and was hanging out with Ram Dass, and so, which I thought was interesting. And so he says, look at this picture, and he takes me over there, and he says, see that girl? She was with Maharaji. She became opened up a plant that spews pollutants into the Hudson River. See that guy there? He became a stockbroker and did, like sleazy stuff, ripping off penny stocks. See that girl there? She committed suicide 2 years later. You see, he went around the circle. And he was there, and Ram Dass was in the picture too, I think. But it was like, it's actualization we're talking about tonight. It's actualization. I talked about my meditation coach, and he came to Toronto. He was in Toronto, and I was up there on business about a year ago. And I said, let's go for dinner and stuff. And I've been going through, I hadn't seen him since I've really, really had so much healing and awakening in my own life and being able to share. And he was talking, and he meditates like he's a meditation coach and teacher and trainer, and he's really good. I mean, it's scary good. I mean, you can read everything. It's like, it's freaky. And I was looking at him as he was talking, I thought, I love Don a lot. I really do. He's been a big factor in my life. But he's got to be one of the most boring people I've ever met. And, it was with love I thought that. When you meditate and you grind your brain all day, and you grind it down, treating it like a thing, watching it, seeing what it does, without compassion like that, it grinds the brain down. That's what it does. I would take 1 second of direct connection with the infinite than 12 hours of meditation. I would take 10 minutes of a DMT trip to be with the presence of entities that know more, see more, and do more than we could ever dream of.
But it's not an either or.
Huh?
It's not an either or.
No, it's not. And I do meditate still. So it's like, I'm just saying, don't question, you got to question everything. And everybody says, well, meditation is a secret. No, it's not. It's very limited. It's extremely limited in what can it do. An automatic technique like that. We have to be in the moment, and we have to be alive in that moment. And meditation has a role, but it's in the moment of leadership. It's in the moment of you and I interacting with. You understand what I'm saying? That's where we get the test. Look at all these wackos on the internet, UFOs, and follow these mediums and all this stuff. Just live a fucking day happy. Try that. And not have to go and look for UFOs all day to give you a message. You know what I mean? Like, the war is in me. It's not out there. It's like let me go to where the war is. It's in me. It's not anywhere else. Yeah, I'm sorry. Huh?
Thank you, Paul. No, that's all right. I'm appreciating the passion that the space is allowing, and I am really grateful for each of you joining us in this community and in this conversation tonight. And I want to thank you, Paul, for joining us at the District House. It's really been a joy to receive you. And I want to shout out his book, which is available if you want to read more about his insight on leadership. Getting High on Leadership is the name of the book, and Bree, I'm sure, is available to support you in that. And I just want to encourage you all to come back out to the District House again next week or the week following or the week following.
No, Friday night. But then, yeah. Oh, it's not a
Yeah,
district
it's a
party.
dance party. If you want info on that, find me.
Yeah. I was wondering if it was district or not. No.
Yeah. And with that, thank you all. I believe Paul is perhaps available to continue the conversation with those, if that's
Sure.
true for you. And thank you all for staying present with us through the journey.
And thank you. Thank you, guys.